Giannis Antetokounmpo has been involved in a lot of trade talks recently, despite him not going out in public and requesting a trade. Still, the front offices of the league are working around the clock to bring such a talented individual to their rows, some of them a bit more surprising than the others. The Milwaukee Bucks are facing the quiet beginnings of a potential superstar standoff, one that could define the 2025 offseason, and multiple teams aren't waiting for a formal trade demand. They're already circling. The two-time MVP just finished another elite season, but Milwaukee's first-round exit and internal uncertainty have reignited the kind of chatter that rarely surrounds a player like Giannis. This isn't typical drama, this is structural tension, the kind that builds quietly, then explodes overnight, making you wonder whether there were signs hinting that a trade like this would have happened. Giannis hasn't gone public, but league insiders are all reading the same signals. His criteria, subtle but consistent, have leaked through trusted voices around the league. He wants to remain in the Eastern Conference, he wants a voice in roster construction, and he wants to play in a market that can help lure other stars. That last piece isn't about billboards, it's about infrastructure, leadership, and urgency. This combination has already narrowed the list of viable trade suitors, and one unexpected team keeps rising to the top: the Toronto Raptors. The Raptors aren't supposed to be in the conversation, not after trading Pascal Siakam, nor after losing Fred VanVleet. Their roster hasn't sniffed postseason relevance since 2020, yet here they are, quietly retooled, surprisingly flexible, and directly connected to Giannis in ways most franchises aren't. Masai Ujiri, Toronto's president of basketball operations, nearly drafted Giannis back in 2013. He's spoken publicly about that miss multiple times, and the link isn't casual, it's personal. And league insiders believe Ujiri hasn't let go of the idea that he can one day bring Giannis north of the border. This might be the best opportunity he has right now, a vulnerable superstar who is looking for valuable pieces around him, and Toronto's not coming empty-handed. Quite the contrary. RJ Barrett, Emmanuel Quickley, Brandon Ingram, who was acquired in a deadline deal, and rising rookie Jacoby Walter have given the Raptors both talent and depth. They're not a contender yet, but they're not a tear-down team either. And most importantly, they've preserved just enough cap and asset flexibility to build fast if a star lands. Multiple reports suggest there is mutual interest. Giannis respects Ujiri, he has ties to the city, and with Milwaukee entering a complicated roster window, aging core, limited cap space, and no easy pathway back to contention, the idea of a fresh start in a familiar conference with a front office he trusts might hold more weight than anyone realized. The Raptors are also built to make a move without destroying their core. Unlike Miami or Brooklyn, who may need to gut rosters or rely on future picks, Toronto can craft a package that walks the line between present talent and future equity. That makes them dangerous. Not flashy, but quietly effective, which might be the market that Giannis secretly desires. It's also worth noting, the Raptors aren't acting like a team sitting on the sidelines. League sources indicate they've kept communication lines open with several teams, including Milwaukee, and have turned down multiple inquiries about Scottie Barnes, strongly suggesting they view him as a trade centerpiece, not just a young asset to develop. Barnes, paired with Poeltl for salary purposes, along with picks, including a 2025 lottery selection, could form the backbone of a real compelling offer. And if Masai can keep Quickley and Barrett out of the deal, Toronto would instantly become one of the most intriguing reloaded teams in the East. As of today, nothing is imminent. Time is on Milwaukee's side. The Bucks are expected to try one last internal retool around Giannis, but the window for that route is narrow, and if Giannis decides to push, either directly or through pressure behind closed doors, few teams are better positioned than Toronto. The Raptors may not be a super team, but they're a potential competitor and a structure that can rise a lot thanks to the assets it possesses. And in today's league, that can be more valuable than hype, especially when a star like Giannis is thinking about legacy, not just wins. The Toronto Raptors aren't just preparing for a blockbuster trade, they're building toward it carefully, methodically, like a front office that already knows the question and is just waiting for the league to catch up. And the moment that question becomes real, is Giannis available? Masai Ujiri will be standing at the front of the line, offer in hand. It's not a mystery what Toronto would put on the table. The trade would start with Scottie Barnes, a former Rookie of the Year and one of the most sought-after young wings in the league. He's versatile, long, and on a team-friendly deal. Every franchise in the NBA has asked about him, but few even get a call back. But for Giannis, that's the exception. Next to him, Jakob Poeltl becomes a logical inclusion. extension, not just for salary matching, but to give Milwaukee a legitimate rim-protecting presence and a seasoned center under contract. But the real power play comes after that. Toronto has a war chest of first-round picks to include, and sources expect at least 5 to be involved in any serious offer. That includes the 2025 lottery pick, one of the most valuable chips Toronto owns. The Raptors have quietly rebuilt their asset stockpile since trading Siakam and Anunoby, and now it's positioned them perfectly for a superstar chase. What's fascinating is what they wouldn't want to include. The Raptors are expected to try to keep both RJ Barrett and Emmanuel Quickley out of the deal. Barrett has found his footing since returning to Canada. Quickley has emerged as one of the league's most confident young guards. If Toronto can hold on to both while adding Giannis to a lineup that already includes Brandon Ingram and Jacoby Walter, that's a team that goes from promising to terrifying overnight. This isn't about stardom, it's about core. Toronto's not trying to build a big three. They're trying to build a functioning ecosystem around a generational player. That's what Masai did in 2019 with Kawhi Leonard, and that's what he's attempting again. But this time, the stakes are different. This time, it's not about a rental, it's about building something lasting. Masai Ujiri has spent the last few seasons taking hits. The Raptors have lost talent, slid down the standings, and drifted into NBA purgatory. He's missed the playoffs, he's missed on free agents, he's watched homegrown players walk. For a man once hailed as one of the smartest minds in basketball, the past 3 years have been humbling. If he lands Giannis, he resets the board and regains the power to shape the franchise's future. But for all the preparation, Toronto's fate is still tethered to Milwaukee's, and the Bucks haven't shown their hand. Milwaukee is not a rebuilding team, far away from it. They're trying to retool and see where their priorities lie without Giannis on their team. Damian Lillard is still on the roster. Brook Lopez can still anchor a defense in short bursts, but the cracks are showing. The Bucks aren't the dominant team they were in 2021. They're older, slower, and have little flexibility left. If they flame out again, they'll have to make a decision, and fast. If that decision involves moving Giannis, they'll want more than future picks. They'll want players who can help them win now. That's why Toronto's offer makes sense. Barnes can play today while Poeltl fills a gap, all the while the picks give breathing room. It's a deal that keeps Milwaukee competitive while giving them a head start on the next phase. That makes it more attractive than what most other teams can realistically offer. Miami may be in the mix, but they're short on draft capital and might be forced to include Bam Adebayo, something they've resisted in past deals. Brooklyn has picks but lacks proven, ready-now players. The Lakers and Warriors have cap complications and no clear incentive for Giannis to join a Western Conference team when his stated preference is to stay in the East. Toronto has what Milwaukee wants, but they also have something Giannis may want more: a fresh start in a market where he can lead without being swallowed by chaos. He'd be the focal point, the face of a country's only NBA team, a defensive anchor, offensive hub, and cultural leader. In a structure designed around him, timing is everything. The Bucks are still hoping to make it work. They'll tweak the margins, take one more swing at building around Giannis, and try to convince him to extend, but everyone around the league is watching. If he doesn't sign, if he hesitates, the clock starts ticking, and when it does, the Raptors are one of the few teams who won't need to scramble. They've already done the work. They've rebuilt their depth, retooled their assets, and cleared the runway. Masai Ujiri missed his chance in 2013. He may never get another this clear. This time, if Giannis is available, Toronto won't be dreaming about what could have been. They'll be dialing Milwaukee with a real offer and waiting for the yes.